Blood in the streets, despair, panic. If you watched last week's report, you already know what's going on. We talked about this. We can actually see that futures are melting down even more exaggerated than the semiconductor companies, which have been running especially hot. If you're a Discord member, I gave a call out on Friday. I thought it was a good time to take some SMCI profits, and I also notified people early on Friday that it was a good time to set up some hedges and buy some SPY puts, which led to us basically printing money all day Friday. And remember that CPI is going to be coming out on Tuesday morning before the market opens. January was pretty rough, and if this month comes in rough, it could cause the Fed to even push back the timeline on rate cuts. Now, this will be really interesting because last week the market was already pricing in a rate cut ahead of the Fed saying anything about any actual rate cuts, making this meme extremely applicable to what's happening right now in those markets. Now, as for what I think, I am not a magic 8 ball. I know sometimes it might seem like it. Sometimes I even feel like it. But we got to stay humble or the market will humble you. And I was locking in profits all day Friday, trying to accumulate cash so that I could be flexible this week. I think it's important to remember how crazy bullish the underlying market is. Yes, we might have a rough week ahead of us. Yes, we might get a lot of selling. But in my opinion, this is going to present a lot of opportunities for the long term. These dips in the semiconductor companies, I think, are going to be ripe for buyers to step in. And I think a lot of people are going to be trying to buy them on the way down as well. I do want to also mention that a lot of people are attributing the selling that we're seeing in the futures right now to the Bank Term Funding Program, which ends on the 11th. I did a short about this. I don't know if you've seen it. Maybe you have, maybe you haven't. It's called Are the Banks Going to Collapse? We got a good amount of views on that. Look at that. We've been doing well. I'm so happy. I love you guys. But I don't think this is going to be a big issue. Okay. I think that the big the important thing to remember is that new loans end on the 11th, but those loans last a full year. I also posted a lot of data in that short and in the Discord as well, showing that, hey, bank deposits have done a good job of recovering. We've seen a lot of the banks who are falling apart have already fallen apart, or they've been bought out, or they've merged together. So if there is going to be weakness here, there's going to be things to worry about. I would probably push that off for another year. The only thing that would really worry me is the rising credit. We've also seen some degradation in the quality of credit. But as long as there's wage inflation in the data that we're seeing and people are starting to earn more, I'm thinking it's likely that they're going to be able to keep up with that. So I'm not too worried about that right now. And I mean, if you just look at the market, it's not very worried either. And keep in mind, if inflation comes back, that's not going to be bearish. You might see a short-term sell-off as the market starts to price out the anticipated rate cuts, but everything will go up, okay? Stocks, energy, gold, Bitcoin, all of it's going to go up. We've been here before. We know the playbook. I'll be ready to buy the dips. Now, before we talk about some technical analysis and how we're going to handle the market this week, I do want to talk about the Reddit IPO. That's on March 21st. I did a short about this. If you want some of the raw data, go watch that. I'm just going to kind of summarize it right here. We have growth in the last 2 quarters that look really strong. We can see that there's plenty of room for growth when it comes to revenue per user. And I think if we kind of combine these, maybe we see some activist investors kind of step in on the board and try to help grow this company. I think it could be a very profitable IPO. I don't think it's a crazy evaluation at the $6.5 billion that they have set. We have a very clear and compelling, in my opinion, growth story here. I like it, and across the social medias where you can see that people do not like it. We've had Zero Hedge coming out here and saying that it's good that there's going to be more people buying because the more that get in, the bigger the short. I don't think you want to touch this with a short position. Holy cow. This market looks like 2020. Okay, you saw it having a GME and AMC, and then everyone's hunting for high short interest because they're looking for those crazy squeezes. This is not the type of market you want to short in. That is ludicrously stupid. You might say, well, Josh, you short stuff. You were just talking about making a bunch of money on your Friday shorts. Yeah, because I don't do that with the mindset of like, this is what the crowd is doing. I want to avoid the crowd. I don't even read the Wall Street Bet subreddit. I was told by many Discord members that they were very bearish on the IPO, to which I responded, stop reading that. Please stop reading that. You fill your head with garbage, you're going to output garbage. I only use Twitter for news. I never look at like the whatever algorithm randomly puts what you can look at. I only look at the stuff from the people I follow, and I'm highly selective with it, okay? It's a tool for me. I don't read it in my free time. I read books in my free time, or I read research in my free time. And in my opinion, that's why a lot of my takes are very solid. When you start reading that stuff, it starts seeking its way into your subconscious, and that's how you get stuck in this groupthink. You want to avoid the groupthink because the group does not make money. I also do want to do some coverage of MindMed because we had huge news last week. It was beautiful. I have year-long leaps on this company that were at like $5. Stock's now at $9. I'm up huge. I've owned this company since it was a pink sheet on the OTC market. I've been a long-term holder here with super heavy convictions. The news last week was great. Positive feedback when it came to the treatment of anxiety disorders and PTSD. But I think what a lot of people forget is we're not looking for regulators to be like, oh, this does work. The research is already there. There's a ton of research for psychedelics being applicable when it comes to PTSD, anxiety disorders, depression, a plethora of things. There's already so much research. We already know it works. We're simply waiting for the regulators to realize that and for approvals for the application of it to start run through. Okay? This is nothing new. The news might get the market excited because the layman can come to the realization of reality, but that's why this has just been such a long-term hold for me. That's why my convictions have been so high. It's like I'm not betting on whether or not this is the case. It already has been the case for a long time. And now let's do some charting. I'm looking for this trend line to hold for SPY. These are the key levels that I'll probably be trading off this week as well. When I'm shorting and when I'm trying to buy some dips. This is your last CPI, by the way. Remember how rough that can truly be. For IWM, we had a multi-year breakout come in. This, we had this first breakout over these key levels. I think we might be developing a 5-wave pattern, which could bring us to 243, which, by the way, is a double top on a longer, for 2022. Keep that in mind. I think this could play out. If this gets a denial, we'll have to revisit this, though. Okay, NVIDIA looks like it clearly wants a pullback, and on shorter time frames, you can see that a lot better. We were just barely touched almost 1,000, and now we're pulling back. I've looked for 784 as a key support. Do we actually get all the way back there? I don't know, but this year I'm actually looking for 1,300 for NVIDIA. There is a scenario, by the way, this actually goes all the way to 1,500. Something to think about. TLT, I've been trying to get a better idea on TLT, and I kind of went overboard trying to draw some levels here and getting a good idea. Oh, by the way, we need to get rid of that. I was just messing around with that. That's nothing. So there's a Head and Shoulders development here that I'll be potentially looking for, developing along this trend line. That neckline would also give us a nice boost, maybe up to 121 for this here is what I'll be looking for. So I think it's a good time to start doing some accumulation if you're interested in bonds. Tesla looks awful. And I've been charting this, and I even came in and did some dip buying here, and I think we could actually see 150. I probably won't panic out of my shares, but I'll be looking for a potential visit to 152 on this giant Head and Shoulders on the daily chart right here. Actually, this is panned out. This is probably like a weekly chart. So I'd be cautious, very, very, very cautious of this on the longer time frame. I'll probably be shorting this week. Bitcoin, we have a very clear trend channel here. We can see that we could kind of plummet through those EMAs as well. So I'd be looking to see if this also does a back test with the rest of the market before trending higher. Again, I'm looking for 100K this year. I'm not really too worried about it, but I do want to buy on this dip that we're seeing right here. And that's going to be pretty much it for the weekly report. I got some other charts that I'll be posting in the Discord. And I want to say links to join the Discord, no longer a thing. I'll refresh a new one on this video, but in future videos, you will not see a link to join the Discord. You're going to have to follow me on X, friend me on Facebook, on one of the socials, and every once in a while I'll drop a link. When I just leave them up on the website, on the interwebs, that's how we get tons and tons of scammers that join the Discord, try to act like me, try to scam people in the community. So I'm getting rid of all of those, okay? This is the first step towards making the Discord completely private, okay? If this doesn't work and we still get tons of scammers, I'm just sick of it, okay? Then I'm going to take the whole Discord private because I like the community. I want to protect my community. You guys are awesome. I don't want people constantly bugging you. So if I have to take the whole thing private, I will, okay? To try to combat this nonsense as best as I can. The other thing that I want to say is that we're doing a free webinar this Wednesday. So if you're in the Discord, the link is posted there. It's shared on Facebook. It's a pinned comment. I'll be posting it on X tomorrow, okay? That's going to be an advanced options class. It will not be posted to YouTube. The last one, people told me they didn't think it was in-depth enough. Okay, we'll go in-depth, but don't get mad at me if you don't understand anything that I talk about. Love you guys. Talk to you in the Discord.